John Harbaugh, sounds like he was asked originally about Lamar Jackson, and said everybody has a bad day, but the reality is Lamar Jackson's had a bad month. You can spin the Viking stats and say he was a little better than things looked, but he was not good against Cleveland. He was not good against the Jets, and he was frankly awful Thursday night against Cincinnati. So with that in mind, how concerned are you about Lamar Jackson, and how confident are you that he can get back to anything close to what he was, say, a year ago?
Well, and maybe we put this to a poll. I mean, I think on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm like an 8.5.
Yeah.
Maybe an 8. I mean, he's so uniquely spectacular that you leave the door ajar. That there'll just be this sort of miraculous turnaround, and all of a sudden he'll look like Lamar from MVP years past, or even last year, which was inarguably his best season ever. That can't be argued, and yet it wasn't an MVP season. I don't think physically we're at a point in the season where you can say, well, there's time to turn it around. Like, the games are starting to become more congested. The import of the games ratchets up. The intensity ratchets up. The weather is less conducive to staying loose and staying warm. So I think there's a lot of factors you could reasonably look at and say, yeah, I mean, they've had their bye. They had the period where they played, twice in 3 weeks. Now it's starting to ramp up. Yeah, I think you have to be really concerned. And, like, the other thing is there's not a single other individual on the offense who's having, like, take best season out of it, is having, like, one of their better seasons. Like, you could say Zay. He's only had 3. Like, okay, maybe Zay. Mm-hmm. But Bateman's fallen off a cliff. Likely has had... I mean, it's been a nothing burger season for the most part, heightened by a ridiculous fumble over the weekend or Thursday night. Andrews is slowing down. No one on the offensive line's distinguished themselves. Ricard, I think, is still pretty banged up and is coming off a game where he's played the less at least since he came back. I mean, Derrick Henry, don't get me like
he's going to rush for 1,000 yards, grading on a curve here.
It's not. It's like. So the thing is, like, if it was somebody other than Zay who basically cleans up Lamar's messes, who catches lobs to the middle of the field and turns them into bigger gains.
D-Hop?
It sort of
he's having a good D-Hop season. Yeah. Stop.
It sort of gets to the question that we were asking a lot, especially when they started 1-5. Who's better year over year? And the only guy that you could argue is Zay Flowers, and we've seen him fumble with some regularity this season. But in terms of the Lamar Jackson of it all, yes, you have to be concerned because the injuries are piling up, and now it's not just affecting his running ability. The accuracy is way off. It's so uncharacteristic for him, and NFL Next Gen Stats, they got completion percentage over expected. You look in this 4-game stretch in which he's completed less than 60% of his passes. He's way in the negative. Negative 9.7 against Cincy, minus 3.1, minus 9.1, minus 16.3 against the Vikings. He's missing layups. Now, if I'm going to look at this with the glass half full perspective with Lamar, he was certainly a much more willing runner against the Bengals. I still think he's missing that final gear.
Yes.
And what does this look like with the extra days? I'm not expecting him to be fully healthy or anywhere close to that, but could this look a little bit better with the extra days coming off the Thursday?
I don't know if the pass means anything at this point. I'm hopeful, but I'm completely not confident. He is 20-3 in December for what that's worth. So he has played his best football in December.
But we could go and say he's always great in prime time.
Yes, and
he's always great against the Bengals. You know what I mean?
Like, Ravens at home in prime time.
Yes.
He never loses to the NFC.
Yeah. So like I said, I don't know that it means anything.
And I will say this, if we also want to look at historical context, he struggled against Pittsburgh.
Yes.
He's a bad Pittsburgh team.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
especially there.
Yes. And that's looming.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think, look, there's a lot of smart people there, including the guy who pulls the strings, Todd Monken. If this was an easy fix, we would start seeing signs of life. We would be able to say, like, okay, when Lamar came back, he plays the game against Miami. He says I'm 100%. He's nowhere near 100%. Now my spidey senses are tingling. But like even then, it's like, okay, well, maybe they could lean into quick passes and killing people in the slot. No, that didn't really happen. Well, okay. 2-3 weeks ago, maybe they'll ride the tight ends and they'll play a lot of 12 and 13 and they'll throw high percentage passes there and they'll throw jump balls to those guys and they'll run it through them. We haven't seen that happen. In fact, it didn't go so well that way that they decided to play, more 11 than they played in forever this past week. And that was a disaster. So, like, I think if it was as simple as last year where they could just switch the knob, like we want to go super heavy, we want to go super light, we want to go somewhere in the middle with personnel, like it's the opposite of that. Now they can't find any real winning personnel groupings for them. So I think it's kind of deep-seated because Monken's not a silly guy. Like, this isn't Giro talking about a non-existent vault.
Yeah.
This guy's won different ways in the NFL and at college. And right now, he can't find a single way to win.
Let me ask you a question, and obviously we'll have a lot of time to talk about the game Sunday, but as we sort of move away from this past week's games, anything at all the Ravens can glean from what they saw Buffalo do on Sunday
a lot of cutback runs.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of inside zone.
Yeah. Derek Harmon will not play again this week for the Steelers. He's an interior defensive lineman. So, can they replicate any of that?
Well, I'd say this. I think they're going to get a different version of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Harmon or not. I think you're going to get the best of whatever they've got left here. So I don't think it's going to prove to be as simple as that. And there's a part of me that thinks even down 2 starters, it might still be a better Bills offensive line, all things considered.
Oh, the interior's much better.
And you really have to defend their quarterback in the run game all the time. And the threat of that, until Lamar proves otherwise, I don't really know that you have to do that here. I mean, I think we're at a different point in time than we've ever been before. Like, that's clearly not even secondary. It's tertiary. It's on the outskirts. Now, does that, like, if the extra rest really does get Lamar over the hump, and if Lamar's legs become a thing, then that, to me, is the one way you could lead him out of this. But you kind of have to see it to believe it now.
Yeah, I think to state the obvious, you got to lean into the ground game, but also with that, lean into play action as well, because even with this subpar season that Lamar has had, he still is the best quarterback in the NFL when it comes to play action. The numbers bear it out. 47 of 58, 791 yards, 7 touchdowns and a pick. I think you have to lean into those two things.